In this video, we'll be going over what we call standard deviation. Now, standard deviation for scientists is a measurement. It's a number that's going to tell us how our measurements for a certain group of numbers are spread apart. So usually we're taking a look at averages, and let's go ahead and say we have two data sets. Data set 1 and data set 2. And let's say that my numbers in data set 1 are 4, 5, and 6. And my numbers in data set 2 are 0, 5, and 10. Now, if I were to look at these two data sets, their average, or the mean, is going to be the same. 4 plus 5 plus 6 divided by 3. All right. And then we have the average here, 0 plus 5 plus 10 divided by 3. All right. And so their average, both of them, their average is going to be 5. Now, as a scientist, I don't really know the difference. Clearly, I know that both of their averages are 5, but this doesn't really give us a good description of whether or not these experiments or these numbers are really important, or whether or not these numbers are accurate. What I want to do is I actually want to take a look at what we call the standard deviation. Now, the standard deviation tells us how far apart our numbers are. So if we can take a look at our numbers, we can look at the spread of these numbers. And as we can see, between data set 1, the numbers have a distance of about 1. They're spread apart by a value of 1, versus my data set 2 is spread apart by a value of 5, right? And so when we're looking at the standard deviation, a lower standard deviation tells us that our averages are a lot closer together, and therefore our sample right here is pretty good. A higher standard deviation is opposite. When you have a higher standard deviation, we're talking about numbers that are so far apart that we have to consider whether or not they're correct, or rather accurate. And so maybe for this data set, we might do another trial and run those averages and then that data set against a standard deviation.